Yeah, every day that's you and me. All day that's us, boo. Came through with that new thing. See, I don't know why I trust you. Crazy now, I'm just too on. Maybe now I'm just too gone. Maybe now I'm just looking for that same vibe that you on. Cause I'm out here with my boys, going crazy in this bitch. Overseas, getting.
Buenos dias, mi gente.
Buenos dias.
What is up, you guys?
Mi esta Lily.
Okay.
Today we are talking about drumroll.
Relationships.
Yes,
Yeah, so we want to give a shout out real quick to Aguilar.
Thank you, Aguilar,
for sharing us without us even asking or anything. That's the real MVP right there. Also, Javi and Joanna for giving us the idea of zodiac signs. Appreciate it.
I love singing when I feel happy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So let's get on the topic of relationships.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What we're going to be sharing today is a little bit of our story. If you don't agree with it, I'm sorry. If you don't like it, there is an exit section. So with that being said, let's get started. Today, the topic is going to be narcissists and manipulative people, both men and women.
Yes, Bush.
And I think with a narcissist, either a man or a woman, because I'm sure men go through this too, or a manipulative person, I think that what happens, you guys, a lot of the times, you know, we or whoever the victim in the case is, comes out looking like we're the bad guys. People don't believe us when we try to cry for help. You know, and behind closed doors, things like, oh, you're ugly, oh, you're fat, oh, you know.
Getting called those names every day.
Yeah,
every day.
that does happen, and that is real. And, you know, when we walk out the door, we have to look like nothing is wrong. And we have to act like everything's okay and that, you know, we're fine. And, you know, people don't understand that. And inside we're really breaking down, and we're trying to figure out how do we get out of this box that we're in, that we've been put in unknowingly, you know. And then you forget who you are. And I don't know if you've heard this, but when Cardi says you had me looking at my reflection different, that's true. And I used to feel that. And you know, there's been times where I would just be in my room crying, and you know, I would talk to my parents and no one believed me because I have this attitude that comes off as a really strong one. I wanted someone to believe me, anyone to believe me. And you know, first it starts with the emotional abuse, that you're fat, you're ugly, you know, no one's gonna want you.
Everybody hates you, and you start to believe it though.
You do.
You really start to believe it. You look in the mirror like you're the problem. Like, damn, I am the problem. Like, how do I fix it? And it's so hard when you don't have nobody by your side to fix, you know, yourself emotionally. Like, I feel like emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. Physical abuse, you can hide it with makeup, but emotional abuse, you can't hide it. You only can smile, but everybody knows, like, you know, she's not happy. And even if, you know, you're
losing friends is always the first sign of somebody that's been controlling. Yeah, because you shouldn't have to lose friends when you're in a relationship, right?
Because once you lose friends, you lose yourself.
You definitely do. There should be trust and boundaries set, and you should be able to, you know, have that, you know, those outside relationships, not only for yourself, but because it's healthy.
Yes.
It's healthy for the person. It's healthy for you. You know, you guys don't need to be together constantly. I can't express that enough in relationships, unless you want to, not when you're being forced to.
Yeah.
And then to hold that in and to not let people know, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally like, I don't know if you guys have seen those Instagram posts where, you know, they show one face and then there's another one crying behind it. That's usually what's happening when you're in an abusive relationship, and people don't realize that, you know. And then somehow, because of you trying to be strong, you will end up becoming at one point the person that is the problem.
Yes, and I thought I was the problem. I thought it was my fault. Like, what am I doing wrong, you know? And it made my emotions trigger to the point where I couldn't even focus on, like, the real life reality. Like, I couldn't even focus on how to make my son happy. And plus, like, I had my baby, postpartum hits. You know, I just felt like my lowest, like, I wanted to fucking kill myself, you know? Like, you want to kill yourself, like, you really do. But I wasn't going to do it. I just had that intention because
But how did you deal with that, though? Like, how did you deal with getting over the emotions of postpartum and, you know, you wanting to take your own life? How did you get through that?
At first I did it. It was really hard. I don't know how I got through it. It's just like time. It was really time, and like me looking in the mirror and telling myself I am beautiful. You know, I have to be a mother and focus on my son, my newborn. I have to. So, you know, that's what I just started doing, just focusing on the things that matter. mainly, and just getting myself through each day, just telling myself and jotting down in my journal, like, I can do it, I can be this, and I am going to do it. So I started doing those things, and I became like a perfect figure to myself, and like BS to the side, like just let his emotions deal with his own emotions. Like, I'm not going to deal with his emotions.
Yeah.
I want to be what I know I am.
Yeah.
Like, be that good mother, be that person who knows how to provide for herself and her family.
So at what point would you say that you decided, you know what, enough is enough and I deserve more than this? And how did you decide to, you know what, I'm walking out, like this is it?
It took years for that, girl. It took so many
and
years.
It does. It absolutely relatable. It does take years for you to realize that you deserve more than what you're in, because you get put into this box and you don't realize that you're almost like looking around trying to figure out, how do I get out of here, right?
Yes.
How do I get out of this box that you feel like you've created? You put yourself there. Am I the problem? Am I the one that did this? You question things
and
that you shouldn't be questioning. Yeah.
So my advice for you guys, if you're going through that, currently, or like has been through that, like you just have like write down, your thoughts in a journal. I'm telling you, when you write down your thoughts, that really does help.
Or talk to someone. Or talk to someone that you can trust. Someone,
because everybody will backstab you, and I try to do that.
A lot of people will not believe you in situations like this. A lot of people will think that you're exaggerating the situation. Maybe you just don't want to be with them. Maybe you're just, unhappy in a way that, oh, you met someone else. It's not really that he's mistreating you or she's mistreating you. But talk to someone. Talk to someone that'll listen. And I think that came out of our relationship when we met each other, is we were going through the exact same thing, you guys. You guys have no idea how similar our situation was. Hers has always been a tad bit worse. But mine has been like really close calls to hers. And there's been moments where I break down and I cry and I'm just like, look, Lily, I need someone to talk to. And she's always been my confidant. She's always been the person that I can confide in and I can cry to and I can talk to, that'll calm me down, because she understands. She's not just someone that says I understand. She's someone that has been through it.
I can feel her emotions. It's like a, how you say it, like a spiritual. When like you connect with somebody,
I think so.
That like spiritual.
And I think that I truly do believe that people do meet for a reason. And I think that we met because we have similar stories. We've come from similar backgrounds. You know what I mean? And it hasn't been an easy life for us. I feel like, but every day we wake up and we do not show this side that we are showing you guys today. To anybody.
This is hard for us to just get on camera and say it. We want to help people out there who's going through it, who's struggling with that,
Because a lot of people do, a lot of people go through this.
This is the number one topic in a relationship, is like mental abuse.
It is, for sure. And I think it's harder for people to understand what emotional abuse is.
Emotional abuse is something that's like not really, it's not really talked about. They always say
it's like taboo.
They always say you're going through mental issues, but I feel like once you're in a relationship and then you go crazy, like when you're in an abusive relationship, then you're single, you guys break up, you show your emotions by partying, going out, drinking, substance abuse, and then like you think you're happy, you're not. You're partying to let your
to forget. I think you're party to forget. And when you try to stop, I feel like for me, I don't know about you, Lily, but for me it became almost like an addiction. If I'm not partying, I'm hurting. And I'm hurting because I'm thinking about that person and I'm thinking about what we went through and how I dealt with it, what I should have done wasn't my fault. I'm questioning everything that happened. I'm replaying everything and I sit in my bed crying. You know what I mean? And then you go on social media, you see everyone partying and you're like, well, wait a minute, that's what I need to be doing. It became like a drug to me, you guys. Partying, drinking became like a drug, and that's what no one understood. Everyone was like, she's partying too much. What's wrong with Jackie? But when I wasn't partying, I was crying.
But I feel like you have to go through that to realize, your worth.
You do.
I feel like you have to go through that stage to know, like, who you are. Like, this ain't me.
And who you deserve and what you deserve.
What you deserve. And that's something that you guys need to realize.
Yep.
You can go out, you can party, you can do this, but don't take it to a point where it becomes an abuse to yourself. And to your emotions. Like, and you have to drink to be happy. No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't.
Go to the gym, go exercise, go write. I'm telling you guys, write down in a journal and jot down everything. It really does help with your inner, your inner
I think when people go through stuff like this, instead of turning to alcohol, instead of turning to drugs, instead of partying, I think go and see what the world is, you guys. There was moments where,
was in Miami,
but even if you don't have the money to travel, because some people are in situations where they can't.
Don't have money.
I think there was times, you guys, where I would go hiking, you know, there was by myself, because I needed to get out. I needed my head to be out of that space. I would just exit one world to get into the reality of what we were living in. And I feel like that really did help too. You know what I mean?
Yes, that does.
Because it taught me, not only did it teach me that I could be by myself, but it also taught me to get to know myself, to listen to my thoughts.
Your inner soul, your innerness. You got to find that deep soul that's within you. You have to find it. You will get through that. I'm telling you guys, you will get through it. Just got to focus on what makes you happy, what makes you, you know, not less vulnerable for your next relationship. You don't jump into another relationship after you just got out of a relationship,
the biggest
especially
mistake.
A physical abuse, a mental abuse relationship. Don't go to that next relationship and think it's going to be okay, because it's not, because you're still hurting deep down inside. You're going to take that, you know, from your last relationship and put it on your new relationship, and it's going to just break down. You got to find yourself first before you open yourself up to another person.
Exactly. And there's been moments where, you know, I have been either dragged out of a car, or when my baby was actually a newborn, we were at a restaurant, and I don't remember what happened that I couldn't get down, but I remember getting left in the car while he got off with his dad and decided to eat, and left me and the baby in the car, and it was like 97 degrees outside, I think. And I remember calling my mom, crying, you guys. I was bawling. And at the time, we had no money, and I didn't have a way to Uber, or I mean, like, we were broke, and I was still with this man, you know what I mean? And it just, you know, things like that I think back on, and I'm like, I really dealt with that. I really stood in a relationship where, you know, I couldn't get off to eat, and I was being left in the car in hot weather with our newborn while he was inside eating, enjoying his day, like if I wasn't in the car. And, you know, my mom has actually cried to me numerous times after she started to realize what was going on, for me to leave that relationship. And it's just, it's hard. It's a lot harder to leave a relationship than anyone says.
It is so hard because you're so used to it. You're so used to that routine.
And yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. And it's just,
so my question to you is, how did you cope with it? How did you get out that situation?
I think what it was that I woke up one day, and this is literally what happened, you guys. I woke up one day, and when you feel like you're tired, my mom has always said, let me give you guys this piece of advice. My mom has always said, when a woman or a man is tired, they will walk out, and they will walk out in silence. They will say nothing, they will grab nothing, and they will leave. And I think that's what happened. I was tired of it. I was sick. I was, you know, frustrated with the fact that I didn't feel beautiful. I felt ugly. I felt like I was overweight. I felt like no one was going to want me. But I said, you know what? Even if no one wants me, even if no one likes me, even if no one finds me attractive, I'm gone. And I just threw up the peace sign, and I was like, that's it. And so at that point, I remember going to the room, and I said, I need you to get your stuff, and I need you to leave, because it was my apartment. So I need you to leave. And then he looked at me super confused, and he kind of laughed. He almost like chuckled, and he was like, what?
They look at us like we're stupid.
Yeah, almost like it's a joke, like we'll never do it. And I said, I need you to get your stuff. I need you to leave my house right now. Guys, within 2 weeks, I'm gonna tell you this, within 2 weeks he was already dating and taking new girls to his new place. Yeah, within 2 weeks of us leaving each other. Yep. And when I tell you this, I'm a huge believer in God. I don't know about you, Lily, but I am a huge believer in God. And when I tell you that I think the person that was always in the wrong will suffer, and they will reap what they sowed, I believe it, because let me tell you that I stood back and I watched this man suffer. I watched him go through things. Yeah. And would cry to me, and, you know, the person that was fat and overweight and ugly, you know what I mean?
Vice versa.
But I do believe in breakup glow-ups. I do believe that when, you know,
oh, I like that.
When when you leave someone that is toxic, you actually grow. I lost,
so beautiful.
Yeah, I lost, and she can tell you this because she met me when I was big. I lost like 100 pounds. I got my shit together. I got my own job. I started taking care of me and my kid. Yeah,
she started focusing on herself and realizing that she is worth.
All right, you guys, so that's pretty much our stories, and I hope that none of you deal with this. Just remember that the signs of a narcissist or manipulative, when they tell your parents lies, when they do something to hurt you, and
when they make you feel like you're not worth it.
Yeah, telling you can't have friends, telling you can't go out.
And you're all that. You're just nothing. You're worthless. When in reality, we know we're not worthless.
And you're worth way more than,
Worth way more than reality.
Yes, worth way more than what they see you at. God didn't give you this life for no reason. He didn't create you for no reason. He created you to make a change in the world that he knew you could.
And you can, and you will. So look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am beautiful. I am worth it. I am worthy.
And never allow for a man or a woman to change the perception of how you see yourself in the mirror. Never allow that, because where one sees you as garbage, another person will see you as a treasure,
A trophy.
Yes, and don't forget that, you guys. You may not be beautiful to every person in the world, but you are. You are.
You are.
And with that being said, we want to go ahead and end this. We want to thank you guys for being here with us. And I know this was a deep conversation. This is a face that we never really showed to anyone, but
we love you guys.
And we think that everyone, you know, has gone through a situation like this and can relate. So,
so stay tuned for our next episodes, and make sure you like, subscribe, and give us a cheers up. And you cannot sit with us.